So I was recently asked by a friend to cover some introductory concepts in logic, and seeing as I'm always more than happy to help and talk more about philosophy, I figured I'd do a quick video on validity and soundness. When philosophers talk about arguments, they're usually not referring to a heated or emotional discussion. Rather, an argument is a set of premises followed by a conclusion. A large part of philosophy involves constructing arguments as well as dismantling arguments. So given how crucial argumentation is to philosophy, and perhaps nearly every field of inquiry, it's important to understand the fundamentals of logic, such as validity and soundness. Otherwise, ignoring the fundamentals could lead to this.
All right, but back up, because I don't want
Logic
to shatter at your face, you know? Guard your eyes. Oh shit, no! Dude. Shit! Learn how to
do logic.
take one
Logic.
class if you're so into
Logic. Validity refers to the structure or form of an argument. A valid argument is an argument that, if all of its premises are true, then its conclusion must necessarily be true. A common valid argument that one will learn in an introductory logic course is modus ponens. Here's the form. Premise 1, if P, then Q. Premise 2, P. And the conclusion, therefore, Q. Now here's an example of a modus ponens argument. If I'm human, then I'm a warm-blooded mammal. I'm human, therefore I'm a warm-blooded mammal. It's important to note that the status of validity is reserved for arguments and not individual premises or conclusions. An example of an invalid argument would be that of affirming the consequent. It appears to be similar to modus ponens, and this similarity has the potential to trip people up. But unlike the valid modus ponens, it is a formal fallacy, and it goes as follows. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. Until we flesh out the premises, it's hard to see how exactly things go wrong. To illustrate this, I'll use the previous argument. If I'm human, then I'm a warm-blooded mammal. I am a warm-blooded mammal, therefore I am human. Here it's easier to see why the conclusion does not follow. Plenty of mammals are warm-blooded, so affirming this is not sufficient to conclude that I am human. I could, for example, be a gorilla who is affirming the consequent. Finally, there's soundness, which takes into consideration an argument's structure and content. For an argument to be sound, it must be both valid and have all true premises. This is the gold standard one should aim for when constructing an argument. An example of a sound argument would be the one previously given. The conclusion logically follows from its premises, and its premises are all true. However, this could be somewhat unsatisfactory for people learning the differences between a valid and sound argument. So here's an example of a valid argument that happens to be unsound. If I'm from Mars, then I own a limousine. I'm from Mars, therefore I own a limousine. Again, this argument is valid, but since its premises are not true, it is unsound. When constructing or deconstructing an argument, one should check to see if the conclusion of the argument follows from its premises, and one should also check to see if the premises are true. If an argument has a false premise or is invalid, then it fails to give a good reason to accept its conclusion. It's important to remember that undermining the premises or validity of an argument doesn't show the conclusion to be false. Rather, it shows that the argument has flaws and must be refined.